Dads, when did you look at your son and think that's my boy? When my 8-year-old son Anthony destroyed his science teacher with NASA data during parents' evening. See, Anthony's always been obsessed with dinosaurs, not the cute cartoon ones. He wants the real deal. He can pronounce Pachycephalosaurus better than my wife's name and corrects anyone who draws T-Rexes standing straight up. I encouraged his passion by taking him to real dig sites and museums. He'd spend hours talking to paleontologists, soaking up everything they said. By age 7, he could explain why feathers on raptors were scientifically accurate. But then came Mrs. Walsh's 3rd grade science class. She showed the class a video claiming dinosaurs were giant lizards that dragged their tails and were all green. Anthony raised his hand and explained that modern science showed many dinosaurs were warm-blooded and colorful, like birds. She laughed and said, "Sweetie, that's just in movies. Real dinosaurs were cold-blooded reptiles." Anthony came home crushed. He pulled out his research papers, actual scientific studies he'd collected. "Dad, everything she's teaching is from the 1960s, he said, fighting tears. The next day, he brought in a recent paper about raptor feathers. Mrs. Walsh confiscated it, saying he was disrupting class with fantasy stories. That's when my boy did something that made me prouder than anything else. He didn't get angry or give up. Instead, he spent a week building a presentation. He gathered evidence from current paleontologists, including CT scans of fossils showing warm-blooded characteristics and feather attachment points. At parents' evening, Mrs. Walsh was showing the class her dinosaur unit. "Now, who can tell me why dinosaurs dragged their tails?" she asked smugly. Anthony raised his hand. "Actually, they didn't. Their tails were horizontal for balance like modern birds. Here's proof." He pulled up a 3D reconstruction from a recent fossil discovery. Mrs. Walsh tried interrupting, but Anthony wasn't finished. He showed bone density comparisons between dinosaurs and modern animals, proving they were active predators, not sluggish lizards. Then came the kicker. He played a video he'd recorded at the dig site, showing real paleontologists explaining how they knew dinosaurs were colorful and feathered. The other parents started asking questions. One dad, a biology professor, confirmed everything Anthony was saying. Mrs. Walsh kept insisting her textbook was right, until Anthony pointed out it was published in 1975. That's before they even discovered most raptor fossils, he explained, pulling up a timeline of major discoveries. The principal walked in during this exchange. She listened as Anthony methodically went through each point, backing everything with current scientific evidence. Mrs. Walsh finally snapped, "Well, if you're so smart, why don't you teach the class?" Anthony looked her dead in the eye and said, "I'd start by using information from this century." The biology professor actually clapped. The next day, the principal announced a complete overhaul of the science curriculum. Mrs. Walsh was required to attend modern paleontology workshops. But the best part? The local museum offered Anthony a special junior tour guide position in their dinosaur exhibit. Now he spends weekends teaching kids about real dinosaurs, showing them actual fossils and explaining why science keeps changing as we learn more. Last week, I overheard him telling a group of kids, "The coolest thing about science is that it's okay to be wrong, as long as you're willing to learn when new evidence comes along." Mrs. Walsh even showed up one day with her grandson. I watched as Anthony patiently explained to them why we now know T-Rexes had feathers. She finally admitted that maybe some of her information was outdated. That's when she noticed the special badge on his lanyard, Junior Paleontologist Educator, with his name engraved on it. "You really know your stuff," she said, actually looking impressed.